Hello, everyone. This is Tasha, and you're having conversations with Miss Reed. Over the years, Lifetime has brought some of the most malicious domestic violence stories to our TV screens, but there are so many more that hasn't been talked about. As a domestic violence survivor, I can attest to the mental and physical abuse you go through. I was young, but grateful I was able to find my way out of it. When I had had enough, I stopped hiding my abuse and went to my mother, who made sure it all ended right then. I think back to the song Love is Blind by Eve, and I can't help but think about all the signs I ignored. Love can be such a beautiful thing, but it can also be deadly. Tonight's episode is based on true events. This is the story of Sade Dixon and Lieutenant Deborah Clayton. On December 13, 2016, Sade Dixon and her unborn child lost their lives in the hands of her unborn child's father, Markeith Lloyd. Sade was 24 years old and a mother of two children who are now being raised by her mother. The 24-year-old mother had moved back in with her parents on December 10th, 3 days before she was fatally shot outside their home. She didn't tell her family why she needed to move back in, but she did tell them that she had gotten into a physical altercation with Lloyd. During that fight, Lloyd bit Dixon on the back, causing her to have to go to the doctor to get a tetanus shot. Dixon and Lloyd had been dating for 3 months and had lived together until his behavior made Sade feel it was no longer safe to live with him again, according to reports. During that time, Lloyd had met her family on multiple occasions. He had dinner with them. Dixon was about 2 months pregnant with Lloyd's baby, her family said. The U.S. Sun reports that on the night of December 13, 2016, Dixon was eating dinner with her family before 9 p.m. when she got a call on her cell phone and stepped outside. Lloyd had gone to Sade's house to attempt to convince her not to get an abortion. He said at the time of his trial that she had pulled a gun on him, which he then took away from her. Sade's brothers, Dominique Daniels and Ronald Stewart, heard the arguing, so Ronald went to check on his sister. Lloyd then shot Sade and her brother as they attempted to walk back into the house.
Yeah, she's smoking, she's effing this dude. I was like, women will say certain things to push you away. You gotta give them space. And that's what we need right now. We need to give you some space and some time. So she began to say, why are you telling our business? And she also followed up saying, you didn't tell them about you putting two guns in my head in the backyard. And I told Sade to go out to the house. And he stepped like 2 steps, quick steps, saying, no, she ain't going nowhere, talking about this today. And I started running as well, going to the front. I saw that the door wasn't unlocked, she was hanging on the door. I saw him take out the gun. I heard a bang, and next thing I know, I didn't have control of my body. It felt like someone kicked me really hard in my stomach, and I fell down. I remember when I felt her over my body, like she was patting my shoulder, kept on shooting, and he stepped over me, kept on shooting her. He stopped shooting her, put his intention on me. He was right, like, at the bottom of my feet when he stopped shooting her, and he held the gun towards me, started shooting. He hit me twice in the leg, 2 bullets in the leg, and he was aiming for my heart. I rotated my side to cover my heart so he won't hit it. As that last shot still hit me in my chest, I started hitting the door open.
Sade's mother, Stephanie Dixon Daniels, was also at the home at the time of the shooting. Stephanie and her younger son, Dominique Daniels, testified at the time that they rushed outside to help Ronald and Sade. but were shot at by Lloyd as he was running to his 1992 red Buick Regal, which was parked on the street. Daniel says that he pulled his mother back into the house after more gunshots were fired. The Orlando Sentinel reported that it had obtained text messages sent by Markeith Lloyd to Sade moments after shooting her and her unborn baby.
Don't know if you will make it. I hope you don't. I told you don't play with me, and you went and got a gun on me instead of talking to me. So you won, and when all I ever wanted was to talk, and now we paying the price.
Sade was pronounced dead at 9:16 p.m., 13 minutes after 911 was called. Her unborn child also died. Her brother Ronald was transported to Orlando Regional Medical Center in critical condition with gunshot wounds to his chest, right thigh, and left thigh. Stewart is undergoing physical therapy as he continues to recover. An autopsy performed on Sade showed that she was shot 8 times. As a mother, I can't imagine what their mother was feeling. Having to hear her children being shot and not able to help them because he started shooting at her too.
And then to my daughter, because she was unresponsive. She was laying face down with her face looking up at the door on her chest. So we had to flip her over. I kept yelling, my baby, my baby, my baby, Ron, Ron, Ron. And he was grunting. At least we knew we got some type of grunt from him, but Sade wasn't responding at all.
A manhunt was underway for a week after Sade was fatally shot when Markeith was spotted at a Walmart when the shopper notified Police Lieutenant Clayton, who was on the scene. A shootout ensued between Lieutenant Clayton and Lloyd in the Walmart parking lot. An autopsy performed on Clayton showed that she was shot 4 times with a fatal blow hitting her in the neck. According to the autopsy, the angle suggested Lloyd stood over her while she lay on the ground. Deborah Clayton worked for the Orlando Police Department for 17 years before she was fatally shot and killed by Markeith Lloyd. After graduating from the University of Central Florida, Clayton was hired by the Orlando Police Department in 1999. She is survived by her husband and son and was promoted from the rank of Master Sergeant to the rank of Lieutenant. Everything she worked for, she died for, said her son, at a memorial for the fallen officer. She loved people, and she loved to save people and help people. According to the Orlando Commissioner, Patty Sheehan, Clayton was love. She was preparing to start a nonprofit to help bridge the gap between law enforcement and the community before her death, according to the Orlando Commissioner, Regina Hill. She gave it all to see transformation in the streets of Ivy Lane, in the corridors of Mercy Drive, and up and down North Lane, where she was a servant leader. Hill said at the time, and that was from the commissioner. During the search for Lloyd, police had arrested Nagy Mahan, Lloyd's former boss, who gave him free food on January 8th while knowing that Lloyd was on the run for allegedly killing Dixon. Lloyd's niece, LaKeisha Smith Lloyd, and Lloyd's ex-girlfriend, Jamise Slaughter. After Clayton was shot, Orange County Sheriff's Department First Class Norman Lewis, who was on a motorcycle, was killed in an accident during the manhunt for Lloyd. Orlando police later announced that the reward for anyone who knows the location of Lloyd is up to $100,000. During a press conference, Orlando Police Chief John Mina vowed to bring that dirtbag to justice. On January 17, 2017, 9 days after the shooting, Lloyd, who was wearing body armor, was captured. He was arrested in Deborah Clayton's handcuffs. Now that is so ironic. Officers located Lloyd at about 7 p.m. in an abandoned house at 1157 Lescott Lane near Raleigh Street. He had $200 in cash on him at the time of his arrest. Investigators had been tapping Lloyd's phone. Lloyd had started texting people, and investigators were able to zero him in through the pings on his cell phone.
Markeith Lloyd has been arrested and is in custody. We are extremely grateful for that. So we do want to give you some details about the investigation and the arrest. So approximately 7 p.m. tonight, members from the Orlando Police Department, the Orange County Sheriff's Office, Metropolitan Bureau of Investigation, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and the U.S. Marshal's Office located Markeith Lloyd at 1156 Lescott Lane in Carver Shores. The house was surrounded and SWAT call-out was initiated before SWAT team arrived. Markeith did try to escape out the back sliding glass doors. He was confronted by Orlando police officers. He ran back inside the house and then subsequently came out the front door. When Markeith Lloyd came out the front door, he was wearing body armor and he had 2 handguns in his possession.
The Orlando Police Department released a video that showed Lloyd getting kicked and stomped in the face, resulting in him losing his eye as the helicopter videographer quickly turns away from the police beating Markeith. During his interrogation, you can hear one officer saying, "You don't need to open your eyes. You need to open your mouth."
We hear it from you, or we have to just basically see what the video says. All that's saying one thing. Here's your opportunity to say what happened. Where are you coming from?
I need medical attention.
Medical attention is coming.
I can't open my eye. No medical attention coming. Y'all bullshit. Why you saying it? Y'all been saying that. Come on.
You don't need to open your eyes, Markeith. You need to open your mouth.
No.
Okay?
You fuck out my motherfucking face. Go on about your business.
During his first court appearance on January 19th, Lloyd defended his crimes and used profanity while talking to the judge.
You read, write, and understand the English language, and you believe you can defend yourself, and you understand that you understand the nature of these offenses, sir?
Say it again.
And you understand the nature and severity of these offenses, sir? Are you sure you don't want a public defender appointed to represent you? I'm sorry, sir, what did you say?
Nothing.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to go ahead and do.
Well, first of all, I got questions to ask.
You're here for first appearances on awards, sir.
Y'all making up shit like I just went in there and shot this girl, endangering my family.
Okay, a judge is
What if people want to do something back? Y'all portray this shit to the news people. Like I just went in there and shot this girl when there was other guns found on the scene. And all kinds of gun was pulled on me for it, but y'all acting like I just went there and shot her. Her little brother got dropped off while me and her was standing there talking. So there's all kind of other shit that happened before we all just put on news. Oh, I just went there and shot this girl, got my family in danger. So no, I wasn't coming in right
State's requesting Mr. Lloyd be placed under oath before any further proceedings.
He's already been placed under oath. Everything you say is being recorded, sir. So,
she should know that. She's a lawyer. What's she talking for?
So here's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to go ahead.
I'm not finished talking because y'all been making up shit the whole time. And then y'all make up stuff on my family, lock them up, because my check, I work. I work 2-3 jobs. I work, and I work for that money. And that's why he gave that money to my daughter, and he gave my niece the other half because he didn't give my daughter all of it. That money was not for me.
All right, here's what I'm going to go ahead.
I didn't receive nothing from nobody. I was out there by myself. How in the hell anybody helping me doing anything? I went to Walmart myself to buy food. Wasn't nobody doing nothing for me.
So we're only addressing the one case, and I told you what you're here for.
Y'all know all y'all lies y'all doing. I don't care.
I'm going to set,
about none of that.
On counts 1, 2, and 3, bond is going to be set at no bond. Additionally, on counts 4 and 5, I'll set bond at $1,500 apiece, totaling no bond plus $3,000. Additionally, I'm ordering some special conditions. You are not to contact Ronald Stewart, the victim in one of these counts. Additionally, you are not to contact any witnesses or victims' family members, Ms. Dixon's family members. I want to be clear on this. You are not to have any contact, whether it's third-party contact through other people,
no telephone communication. I'll have him read that in just a moment. You're not to contact Dominique Daniels, Stephanie Dixon Daniels, Ron Daniels, or her children. There is a form there that you're going to need to sign off on. I'm going to go ahead and we'll give you a court date sometime out. It'll be on the paperwork for determination of counsel.
And then when they had me in the hospital, the Channel 9 News sent out that way for me to come out and see what they did for me. Or they done took my eye. They done broke my nose, broke my jaw. They did all this shit till I resisted, but I crawled out to the motherfucking road. So how did I resist? I ain't resist shit. They just did that shit. They tried to hide it from the news people, but I'm here right now.
Corrections, I think we've established everything we need to do in a first appearance here, and he can be taken after he signs.
Fuck you.
Have him sign the no contact.
Fuck you.
I did watch the video of him being arrested, and it was in like the maybe like the lights where you could just see the body, like the body heat. So you really couldn't see clear. You just saw like images. So it looked like he was crawling down on the ground. And I actually did see at least one of the officers kicking him. So that actually did happen. I will be referencing the things that I looked up in the show notes, so you can check these things out yourselves. So continuing on, in October of 2019, the trial began. Markeith gives his account of what happened on the day he killed the mother of his child, which I must say was a shit show, y'all. I could not believe it lasted this long. And I just couldn't imagine being Sade's mother and having to sit there and listen to this animal recant the events he saw it in, as he saw it in his head. I just could not believe why it went so long. It was just, it was insanity. And then just listening to him talk about the events of that day was like listening to Khal Drogo speaking his Dothraki native language on the Game of Thrones. And that language is made up, y'all. So it was just like so. Here we go.
Mr. Lloyd. Yes. Without saying what the press actually said, okay, can you tell us, first of all, was the press inaccurate about what happened?
Yes, they were.
Okay. And what happened? In terms of going up to the door and flashing the light, explain that.
Yes. So when I went over to my girl's house, she called me over. I came over. I flashed the light on the brother's window that's in the front yard. I flashed the light. I came to the door and knocked on the door, and I was like, "Ron, Sade here?" He was like, "Yeah, Sade Markeith out here." So Sade came to the door. We came out to the car. We was out there talking about our situation that we had going on. So, and then I ended up telling her about one of my other exes. So she went back in the house. I thought he raised his hand. Oh, yeah.
Speak up.
So, my mouth was just dry. So, she came out. We was outside to my car talking. So we was at my car talking. So we were talking about our issues. Her little brother got dropped off. He went in the house. And so she asked me about my ex. I just had sex with one of my exes. So I told her. So she was like, hold up. So she went back in the house. She came back out the house. I got to leave out the other part of it.
No, you say what you want.
So she went in the house and got a gun. So she went in the house and got a gun, and then she came back out. So now, when she came back out, she called me to tell the whole thing, or...
Yeah.
Alright, so when she came back out, she went to the side of the house. So when she went to the side of the house, she called me over. I'm thinking she's going to the backyard to play with a dog. They got this big Doberman that she got. So I'm thinking she's going to the backyard to play with a dog. So I come to the side of the house. She got a gun. So she got a gun. She got it right, her hand on on the handle. So she's like, why you doing this? Why you doing this? I'm like, Sade, what the fuck is you finna do? I'm like, you finna shoot me? Why you doing this? I'm like, Sade, what the fuck are you finna do? Are you finna shoot me? And she wouldn't answer. So I pulled out my guns. I carried 2 guns. I pulled out my gun. I'm like, Sade, give me that motherfucking pistol. I'm like, Sade, just drop that pistol on the ground or throw your hand to the side. Sade, do not bring your hand forward. And she was so used to having her way with me. She had no fear of me. She was so used to having her way with me till she brought her hand forward like this with the gun, but then she threw it. And I kind of like pulled the trigger a little bit, but I guess it had a 10-pound pressure pull. I don't know about guns. I called it a built-in safety. So, but it didn't go off then. So when she went back up front, I picked the guns up. So when I come up front, I guess she had them bumped into the garage, or they had a barbecue pit on the corner, or she bumped the barbecue pit and it hit the garage. So when I come up front, her brother is looking out the window. Excuse me. Her brother is looking out the garage window. So he goes in the house. He comes back out the house. So I put her gun in my back pocket. I was able to cover one of my guns back in my waist, and I took the other gun. So her brother comes out. But when he comes out, he was like, what's going on? I'm like, bro, we straight. We just out here talking. You know what I'm saying? So I guess he said something or whatever, like, it doesn't seem like y'all straight or whatever. So, and then he asked Sade. He was like, Sade, what's going on? And she tells him, she's like, bro, we straight. Go back in the house. We straight. Like, so now, I guess he's thinking what he's thinking. When you read his statement, he thought I pushed his sister to the garage or something, but I didn't touch her. So now he got something in his mind that's not true. And so now, so he wouldn't leave us alone. So I was giving him more insight of what me and Sade was going through. So I said, Ron, the sister was texting me, because the first text she texted me, because she logged into my Facebook.
Okay. So hold on a second. And so you start telling Ron about what had happened leading up to the event.
Yes, so I'm telling him, like, Ron, your sister texted me a message, like, don't expect no baby. Like, she's going to get up early to kill the baby, saying she's going to be fucking niggas with the baby, and all this. So now, by me telling him that makes her more upset. So she's like, shut the fuck up. Don't be telling my business. I get my brother to kick your ass. And since you want to tell him all that, why don't you just tell him to point at my gun, or point the gun at my stomach in the back of Mom's house. So now she done told him some more bull, which is a half story. She didn't tell him why I put my gun out, that she went and got a gun on me. So now he's already thinking something already, and now she done told him some more bull that's not all the way accurate.
He also goes on to say, I would never do that. If I was guilty, I wouldn't be in here talking to you. The prosecutors asked Lloyd, what prevented you from getting in your car and driving away? And he said, she didn't ask me to leave. So the prosecutor asked again, yes or no, nothing prevented you from getting in your car and leaving? And he responded by saying, she didn't ask me to leave. So she didn't tell me to leave. I saw, as I watched this and watched some of the videos and stuff, because that wasn't just it. The trial was like, I think, oh my goodness, I think it was like 8 clips of it. It was like day 8. I was over it, but you could see her mother sitting in the gallery, and she had like a notebook, and she said she was just keeping like a diary just so that she can keep herself sane through the trial. And you could see pictures of her or video of her sitting there just looking at her notebook so that she didn't have to listen to this. So continuing on, Lloyd's mental health had been a point of contention during the case. Lloyd stated, this is him talking, so I'm sorry. I ain't need to talk to anybody. I'm not crazy. He was determined to be competent to continue with the sentencing and hearing. Clinical psychologist Xavier Amador testified that Lloyd was convinced he was a slave, and the police officers and prosecutors were his slave masters and were trying to kill him. He was found guilty on all counts: first-degree murder of Sade Dixon, killing of an unborn child, attempted felony murder of Ronald Stewart, attempted felony murder of Dominique Daniels, attempted felony murder of Stephanie Dixon Daniels, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Lloyd was also convicted on 5 charges, the court records show, including first-degree murder of a police officer, attempted first-degree murder, aggravated assault, carjacking with a firearm, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. When Lloyd received the death penalty, Orlando Police Chief Orlando Roland said in a statement, "Although nothing can undo the heartache created by the defendant's heinous actions, we hope that this brings solace to our community, knowing a dangerous murderer will face the highest penalty provided by the law." In the United States, an estimated 10 million people experience domestic violence every year. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, about 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner. About 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence, sexual violence, and or partner stalking with injury, PTSD, contraction of STDs, etc. If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, several resources are available to help. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE, and that's 1-800-799-7233. I will link everything in the show notes for your reference. And this was a tough case for me. I wanted to add some more segments into the podcast gearing towards true crimes. Even though the things that we do talk about on the podcast are personal, and sometimes are, friends of ours, their personal experiences. But there are so many stories that, at least me, I didn't even know about. So I'm going to be adding in some true crimes, and I found one, guys, that it broke my heart so bad. It literally made me, I stayed up all night just imagining it. So I think I'm going to do that one next. And we're going to end it here. And as always, we do a quote. And the quote for this one is, "If the people we love are stolen from us, the way to have them live on is to never stop loving them." And that's by James O'Barr. So good night, everyone, and stay safe.